What up? You just gonna ignore me, bro?
We have Ottoson here today.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Why did you decide to start this creative endeavor?
I decided to start creating stuff mostly because I've always been fascinated with like music and like interviews. Like as a teenager, dude, like I used to watch hours of my favorite people like just sitting and talking. Like it used to be a dream of mine to go on Ellen or like Hot 97 or The Breakfast Club and just talk about me. And like I would watch like Childish Gambino, MGK, like Logic, like Kendrick. Like I would watch everybody just sit there and the way that they would talk, and I'd be like so locked into what they were saying that I was like, man, I hope someday that's me and like people want to be interested in what I'm doing. Um, so I was like, I got to do something to get to that point. And I've always loved music, and I've always thought with my like large musical taste in different genres that there's got to be some way to get to that point. So originally it was going to be like metal and rock and stuff, but that's hard to do as a solo guy. So I started doing that with rap and hip hop instead. So um, yeah, the goal was always just to become well known and people be interested in me. So I started doing it that way, and then I decided to start like Infamous Media because I wanted just a bigger opportunity to kind of express myself than just music. And I figured no one's going to want to hear just me talk. So I'll use that time to spark conversations with other creatives. And so far, it's been going pretty well. Hell yeah.
Nice. You've been on this journey for quite a while. So, what are some of the roadblocks that you've been coming up?
Dude.
While being a creator, what are some of those roadblocks?
So the biggest roadblocks I've seen are support. Like, I'll just say that the local music scene, from what I've seen, does not support the way that they claim they do. So like, you'll meet everybody at these shows, you'll dap them up, you'll sit down, you'll talk for an hour, you'll watch their stage, their performance, and then the next thing you know, they're viewing all your stories, they're not hitting like, they're not commenting, they're not sharing your shit. And it doesn't matter how much you do it for them, they're not going to do it. Um, and it's not that they're fake or anything like that. I think there's a lot of like ego issues with it where they feel almost like a fan for hitting like or supporting something. And I just, I've just noticed that they're not into that. So that's a big roadblock is local support. You're probably not going to get any from other creatives. Now, as for like real, genuine fans, like people that aren't a creative that want to help you and support you, those are hard to find, especially when you get lumped in with other creatives because then it just starts to suggest, like the algorithm suggests more people that are already creating. So it doesn't show you normal people. It doesn't show you people that just want to hear your underground music. Being underground really is like the hardest roadblock because it's never trending. It's never trending to like an underground artist. It's never trending to support your other underground artist. You can't get to the top if you're showing love to all the bottoms. So, biggest roadblock's been support.
So, where did you get the name Ottoson?
So, it's so crazy. In this bedroom, I was in this room before it looked like this. Um, when I started making music, obviously you gotta come up with a rap name. I was practicing Hinduism at the time, so I had dreads and like I was vegan and I was practicing Hinduism, and a lot of Hindus, they speak Hindi, so I wanted my rap name to be a Hindi name. So it's so funny. I think it was Growth and Wisdom, and it was supposed to be Vicus, Gayen, and Fool. Like, but Vicus was what I was gonna go by for short, and it was like Vikaas, and I remember like if I would say that to Google, like Google wouldn't know what the fuck I was talking about, and I was like, I like this name a lot, but no one's gonna know how to pronounce it. I don't know how to ask Google for it. Like, it's not gonna roll off the tongue. I'm gonna have to come up with a different name, right? So a lot of my old projects, like I have old projects that are labeled Vicus. I came up with Autosyn because I was trying to think of a cool name, obviously, that like people can read and pronounce. So I liked Auto because I'm a big fan of cars. So like, you know, automatic cars or automobile, um, as well as growing up, there was a show called Rocket Power. The main kid, his name's Otto, but I didn't have subtitles back then, so I didn't know Otto was spelled Otto. I thought it was the other way. So I like that name. Sounded cool. I remember the show. So I was like, cool, I'll be Otto. But I assumed, and I don't know now, but I assumed Otto was obviously already taken. So I was like, let me do a last name like Travis Scott, right? Otto Sin. Sin because it sounds cool, sounds dark and spooky. Um, and then in full, it's automatic sin, right? So that is the concept that we are all born in sin automatically. As soon as you're born, you're automatically a sinner. Um, so the religious aspect of that, obviously, the Hindu part wasn't important. I stopped practicing that, and like I've always just studied and liked religion. So I know a lot of Christian background. I have a lot of Christian background as well as Hindu, Buddhism, all that. Um, but yeah, so automatic sin came from all that mixed in one big pot, and just been auto sin ever since then. The frustrations I have with the fucking name, though, a lot of people don't put a fucking space between auto and sin, which is crazy. Because when I made auto sin, I could have made it one word on Instagram, like auto sin, you know? But I purposely put a period in between auto and sin. It wasn't because the name was taken. I put a period there so people know they're two separate fucking words, right? I still to this day get people that are like autosyn with no space. Jimmy runs a fucking joke on it and only uses it as no space. But I don't know. Yeah, it's annoying that people do that because I fear that they're gonna call me like autosyn or something, you know? And then I get people that like dap me up in person and call me Sin. And I'm like, that I would never call like Travis Scott Scott, you know? Like it's just weird. But yeah, so I usually try to just introduce myself as Otto. And the name itself has actually helped me immensely. I talked about people acting and pretending being people, but it helps you put whatever personality and past like or insecurities that you have aside, and you get to just be this person for the night. Like you get to, if I'm an introvert, Autosyn gets to be an extrovert, right? I don't necessarily change my personality or my opinions. I would always have the same opinions and personality, but you know, people who meet Autosyn, they don't have to know that Autosyn peed his pants in seventh grade. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. Um, yeah, that's just the big story on it. But that's about it.
Like in anybody starting a creative journey, you know, you think you're gonna start, you know, you're gonna get all this, you know, buzz, everybody's gonna support and things like that. Obviously, that's not the case now. So,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to other creatives, but also your younger self, you
Yeah.
know, first getting into it? What advice would you give yourself?
So anybody trying to start out, and stuff like that. Like, if you want to start a creative journey, the biggest thing you're gonna have to know going into it is a lot of people are not gonna like your stuff. They're not. It's not even that they're not gonna like it. It's they're not even gonna listen. They're not gonna listen. They're not gonna watch. Um, so you can't spend all of your creative time making stuff to try and get those people hooked in. You'll just be kind of wasting your creative juice, I guess. Um, I decided a long time ago just to make what I want to make, whether it be the quality standard that I had for myself, the style of song structure, the style of short film, like reels and stuff like that. Like, I decided a long time ago, just make what I want to make. Don't worry about pleasing other people. Um, that's what we all want to tell ourselves too, to the end. But there are plenty of times where you kind of like get frustrated, like, damn, why am I seeing 130 people viewed this and I got 10 likes? You know, like, what is going on? I need to do something different. Um, you got to kind of like just not bottle it up, but like put that to the side and just keep trying, because those 10 people, those 20 people, that's more than zero. So like your progress will be slow, but you'll get there, and then eventually you might get something that really just blows up and people really like it. I also don't think anybody should pressure themselves with like, I have to do this, I have to get famous. Um, I've always felt like you should do this as a passion hobby, and then, you know, if you get lucky, you get lucky. But at the end of the day, like, don't put all your eggs in this basket, because you're gonna stress yourself the fuck out. And the biggest like advice for success, build a good team. Like, find yourself a reliable, steady producer, engineer, a safe place to record, a director, a filmer, like someone with a good camera that's willing to help you out. And I mean, it's your team, so you got to support them exactly the same way. But you figure out what you're good at and what you're not good at, and then you find people that are good at that stuff, and I think it'll help you in the long run. Yeah.
You have any like anxiety about performing and stuff like that?
Yeah. So,
If you did, how did you deal with those doubts and like fears?
so I brought this up a couple of times, I think, but um, the starting out, the biggest anxiety that I was always worried about was if I ever had to record vocals in front of someone else, they would hear the raws, they would hear the zero effects on my voice. I was always nervous about that. And then performing, I was really, really nervous about performing, but I always wanted to get on stage and you know, do something. And everybody was trying to gatekeep like stage performances, shows, like they wouldn't let anyone else know how to get to that opportunity. And this ghetto ass strip club down the road was like, we let rappers come on Tuesday nights at 2 a.m. And I was like, let me do it. I had never been to a strip club before. I'm usually uncomfortable around like naked women that aren't directly interested in me, if that makes sense. Like, women that are talking to you because they're paid to do so. Like, I feel, yeah, I feel really weird around them. I feel like not wholesome. So I was nervous about that, but I needed to get on stage. I was gonna bail. Someone told me that's not good for networking. You know, you really got to ride through this. So I went, and I was nervous as hell. A bunch of naked ladies. Never been in a strip club before. And I went, I jumped on stage, I did 2 songs like I was supposed to, and no ladies came on stage, thank God. My entire family was on like the left side of the stage at the strip club, like supporting me. And I felt good, dude. Like, after that, I've always told myself that I was so nervous at that moment that ever since then, like, nothing can compare to that nervousness that I felt then. So ever since then, like I hit the stage, I do my thing, I have fun, and I just think like if you overstimulate yourself that hard for the first time, then everything else after that you should be all right. That being said, the day I end up in front of like 100,000 people, I have no idea how I'll react. I'm hoping it just goes well. But yeah, the performance, the raw vocals. I got lucky with raw vocals because Jimmy DeRosa records with effects in your headphones, so you can hear while you're singing what kind of like a premix vocal would sound like. So you don't have to hear yourself with no effects. So I love working with Jimmy because of that. So I never have to deal with that. Um, and then, you know, stage performances, I don't really do them much right now, but not anymore. Um, I got over that too. So yeah, other than that, the anxieties that I have are from like if I put a video out or like a cover or something and it doesn't perform well, I kind of wonder like, do I sound bad? Like, have I listened to this so much that like I don't hear the bad parts? Is that why it's not performing well? So I get anxious if videos don't perform well. That's probably the most that I get right now.
Is there like a creative routine or some type of, you know, routine that you do personally that helps you continue to do what you do and helps you to keep, you know, operating smoothly?
Yeah, so creative routine, not much of one actually. I know that I know that I'm gonna sit down and make a video, and I'm gonna sit down at a studio and record once a month. Um, so prep for that isn't necessarily like a daily thing. It's more so like I wake up, I go to my normal job, I do my normal job, and when I'm driving to or from my normal job, that's when I'll listen to some beats, I'll listen to like projects that are in the works, and I'll kind of like think on what I could change, what I could write. Um, I'll take like a little like recording app and I'll play the beat and I'll just lay down like a melody on my recording app. And then I'll play that shit ass recording and I'll like start typing in words on my notepad. And then from that point, I'll go to my house, jump on my FL, start laying down that. And then when I go see Jimmy, I lay down the real product. So I guess that's kind of a routine. Um, and then a lot of times, like if I'm on Instagram and I'm just see like someone kind of like low level, like not low level necessarily, but like they're starting out or they're doing something really cool and they're reachable. Um, I'll hit them up, ask them if they want to come on the podcast, if they want to talk, if they want to share their story. Um, I always keep an eye out for like people that I feel like are in the same spot that I used to be in, where like, hey, I'm doing something cool. Why is no one looking? And I always want to help out with that. Like, you're doing something cool. Come, let me shine my spotlight on you, you know? So that was something I always wanted starting out. Like, dude, someone help me out. Like, someone give me tips. Someone talk to me. Someone give me exposure. Um, I was never looking for like handouts or anything, but like I felt like there wasn't many options. So yeah,
Yeah, in the same way, I never really traditionally had a mentor either.
yeah,
Yeah, I had a couple like throughout the years, but they kind of just, you know, you grow and they got to keep doing shit. You got to keep doing shit, so you got to keep moving forward. But
yeah.
where do you see yourself, like, you know, creatively, or you know, just period in like 5 to 10 years, like with your work? Like, where do you see that going? It's always a loaded question for me because I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say I'm 5 years in right now. Not necessarily with the podcast or anything, but dabbling in the creative field. Uh, and I don't know if I'm necessarily like satisfied with the progress, but it has been progress. Um, I would like to say that within the next 5 years, I would like the YouTube channel for Infamous Media and the brand itself to be more sustainable. Kind of like I would like to have a regular flow of clients reaching out, wanting to come on, um, a regular flow of merch being bought. Like, I would like it so that even if I didn't do promo for a little bit, like there was still people coming in. I would like the videos to be more not structured, but like this is how we do things. This is the way it's gonna get done, and it's like it's almost expected, you know. Like it's I would like to formulate some kind of formula and be able to use it every time with no worries, no hiccups. Like this works, this always works. I'm gonna keep doing this. Um, and music wise, uh, within 5 years, I would like to reach. It'd be awesome to have like a steady 20K listeners, like year round, on Spotify at least. So I think the most I've peaked was like 5,000, but it dropped. So um, it'd be sick to maintain like 20,000 monthly listeners and gain a bunch of followers out of nowhere. And I would like Infamous Media to have a constant flow of guests. So yeah, that'd be sick.
How do you feel like you set yourself apart creatively, you know, from shooting podcasts like this and from like actually creating your music?
So when I see other people creating, I like to think what kind of sets me apart is I try to be intentionally mindful about it, right? So, um, like I'm not the first guy to do the podcast, and I'm not gonna be the last guy. Uh, Realistically, I never wanted this to be a podcast. It just happened. People kept calling it that. At some point, you got to roll with it. So, I see people that do podcasts. I see people that have guests on, and I kind of watch them, and I'm like, feel like I'm kind of watching a lot of the same thing, like person to person. So with Infamous Media, I've always said like I don't necessarily want this to be an interview. I want this to be a good conversation between two people, and whatever comes out comes out. It's never scripted. It's never noted out what I'm gonna ask, and I think that's part of the fun part is it's all really organic. And I think that's what I always want to stay true with creatively is organic. Um, the problems that I have with organic is sometimes I'll like be done with the video and I'll be like, damn, I talked the whole time. Or like they talked the whole time. But that's just kind of the way the ball's gonna roll, I guess. So when you're doing it like that, that's something you risk. But I want to be organic, and then when I'm making music, there is no Autosyn as a rapper. He makes rap. There's no oh, I can only make this genre. I can only do this. If someone hits me up for a feature, there's a chance that I have no effects and I'm rapping all over the place with like a really fast melody. There's a chance that when I go and record at home for my own song, it's gonna have the Travis Scott auto tune cranked all the way up, and there's another half where I'm gonna be doing like some metal screams, and I don't ever want to be stuck in a category, um, which from what I've seen also has its own bad side because everybody who keeps returning for your music, they don't get to hear what locked them in the first place if you're changing all the time. But I figure eventually people who want something like that, who want that variety, they will come in and go from there. So yeah, I think what sets me apart is I try not to get stuck in a box and I try to be as organic as possible.
Self balance and that. What's your what's your favorite and least part about being a creative, particularly based in Columbus, Ohio?
So my favorite part about being a creator in Columbus, Ohio is the competition. There is always a guy outperforming you, below you. There's always somebody doing something new, doing something better. So I love the competition. It keeps you on your toes and it makes you want to keep trying to level up. My least favorite part about being a creative in Columbus is I always feel like I'm stuck in Columbus. I don't want to be associated with the city. I want people in California, Florida, Mexico, Canada. I want those people to tap in, to view me, to see me, to want to come back, right? But something about your local music scene just fucking traps you in here. And like even Instagram doesn't want to show you to Florida. They don't want to do that. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is, but that's the worst part is being stuck in your city. Hmm.
What is probably one of the one of the biggest ways that your creative journey has helped you grow, like personally in your personal life?
So it helped me realize that just because someone is around does not mean they are your friend, if that makes sense. So, um, like in the creative world, there are people that are around, they're under your posts, they're in the DMs, they're at the shows, uh, but they're not necessarily like, you can't go to them with like life problems. They'll just disappear. Like they don't really care. So kind of helped me grow to realize like, okay, you really got to like see through egos and people, and a lot of these people are just acting, like they're not the person that they are while they shake your hand or whatever. um it kind of taught me not to believe everybody at face value, if that makes sense. um it sucks, it sounds, disappointing and all, but it's helped me just grow to see people for who they are. The other thing is being creative has helped me grow as a person in the sense that like I've learned to accept more people as well. So like before I kind of felt like there was a certain type of person that I want to be around, that I want to associate with, and um doing all this, being creative like this, you meet people from all walks of life, which, some people were homeless living in their fucking car for years and were on drugs, and they're just a person, like you don't have to look at them as that person because you didn't even know that part of the story when you met them and you guys like hit it off really well. It's kind of just gave me an opportunity to meet a lot more people from walks of life and be a lot more judgment free of a person.
Gotcha. In what ways do you feel like you have to make compromises when it comes to the journey? What other ways do you feel like you're like there's some compromises that you're not touching at all that you can't compromise with?
So, yeah, like I feel like one thing that I absolutely can never compromise on is a lot of people when they want features, they some of them will write the lyrics for you and they'll be like, "Hey, can you do this?" Um, I hate that, but I'm willing to do it. But when they tell me how to sing it or how to rap it, why did you even want a feature? Like you are telling me how to sing or rap this and you wrote the lyrics. I can't do that. And I won't do that. I tell them every time up front, like, not doing it that way. I will do your lyrics in my interpretation, maybe, but I can't do it that way. So I won't bend on that at all. Um, and if I feel like someone is trying to use me as some kind of tool, like some kind of gain. Like obviously the podcast is an exposure opportunity. You know, that's not a problem. But if you are trying to, if you see that I have 5,000 listeners and you have 15, and you're like, hey, can I get a feature? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. But then all of a sudden you're like, also share this on your page. Also shout this out. Tag me in this. And we're doing a music video. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, can you pay for half the music video? Fuck no. No, dude. I wanted to work with you because I like your song. I don't care about the numbers. But at the same time, it is very obvious you are using me as like some big screaming exclamation point, you know? So uh, I don't I don't ever fly with that. Now, the one thing that I will compromise on in this world is every once in a while I will realize whatever sauce I'm trying to use, whatever formula or algorithm that I'm trying to do, it's not fucking working, right? So like the videos keep bombing or nothing's working, I will realize like, okay, I need to go 9:16 on this video, right? Or can't have a black background, has to be this. That's just the way shit's working, right? Um, I can't keep posting fucking 360 megapixel. I need to boost it. I need to go up higher. So compromise technical wise, like mixing and mastering. I got to start doing that, right? For a long time, I kind of thought like if I push this hard enough, I'll do what X and Ski Mask did, where like they're like we couldn't afford a good microphone, so we just rolled with the distortion, and now that's trending, right? I thought if I just do it my way, eventually it'll take off. Doesn't fucking work like that. So you have to bend and break sometimes for like algorithm purposes. But that's about it.
Who are some artists, including collaborators, people you've seen online, um, people that you probably haven't met yet? Who are some people that are inspiring you right now to keep creating?
It's a good question. Early on, Matt Wide, my buddy from Woe Is Me, him and Unis were doing these drum videos of like just hot parts in songs, like choruses or breakdowns. They were doing these high quality drum videos for covers, and I would watch Matt do that, and I was like, this is such a fucking smart idea. Like you're just taking everybody's favorite parts of these songs, 30-second content, doing it, posting it, people are watching it, and then, you know, he was going the extra mile for a while where he was putting lyrics up, he was like getting the effects on the video and like he would title the thumbnail. Like it was a whole crazy plan, right? So I would see that and I was like, I gotta fucking do this shit, right? Like he's doing it, it looks sick, it's working. I gotta do that. So I tried it with vocals, but Matt is one genre, right? So it's one fan base. I'm trying to do it for, you know, R&B covers, metal covers, rap covers. I'm also not doing it consistently, and that's the one thing I can't stress enough is I know how social media works, but I do not push myself to the point that I need it to work. I still do this stuff because I like to do it. So if you watch a video and it's like, oh, those lyrics were off by a hair, or the video quality isn't 6K or whatever, I understand that. I know that. I'm doing this because it looks put together, but I'm not cranking it all the way up to as high as I could, which maybe someday I'll change that, but for now I do it because I want to. But to continue, so there's Matt. I get a lot of drummers. There's a student named his name's Josh, but I found him on the sponsor page or whatever, like in between stories. His Instagram name's like I'm the worst or whatever, but he's doing electric drums on top of like The Weeknd, Tommy Richmond, like he's doing drums on top of like hip hop songs. So like I thought that was cool. I saw what he was doing. He's like throwing anime visuals in his drums, and I tapped in with him, gave him a shout out. He's doing really cool stuff, and so I keep those creators in mind when I'm doing stuff. I watch what other people do, and I use them as like a blueprint almost, and then I try to mix them with someone else, right? So, uh, and then like uh, a higher level guy. His name's Shayley, and he's from Of Mice and Men or Dayshell, two different bands. Um, he was promoting music, like his album, and it kind of gets annoying because you'll notice they are doing the exact same song, multiple different videos, every day almost. But he'd be outside in front of bushes with a microphone, and he'd do the song, he'd post it, he'd do that, he'd post it. So I always keep him in mind, like vocal covers, vocal sections of your own songs, post those. Um, and then, yeah, like it's anybody from most of my following list, I am probably following them because they are doing something that I admire, I want to implement, um, or it's just a really cool idea. So I always try to pull ideas from everybody and see the ways that I can use them. But those are just a few.
Nice, nice. What is one of the one of the craziest stories you can think of that happened? You know, while you're either performing or doing a set for somebody, or just coming up with like a song or something.
Um, let's see. It's always a really chill time, so I don't. Oh, okay. So we used to do these showcases, these local showcases, and there was a manager that worked for the company that would put on the showcase, and he was real cool host and everything. And we would like text and stuff like, hey, excited for this show or whatever. And one night he like tries to call me, and I don't answer because random phone calls give me anxiety. So I'm like, what? This is unannounced. It's like someone knocking on your door, but you didn't know they were coming over. So I'm like, not answering that. And then he texts me, he's like, call me when you get a chance. Hell no, I'm not calling him, right? So the next day, I text him like, what's up? I can't really talk, but what's up? He's like, I'm gonna need you to cover for me, otherwise there ain't gonna be no show tonight. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, man, I was up all night arguing with my girl. I need someone to fill in as the host. I'm like, okay. He's like, I want that to be you. I'm like, you want me to host the showcase or there's not going to be one? He's like, exactly. And I'm already like on my way to the venue. I'm like, man, I guess, right? So I get there and I'm talking to him, and he explains like, here's the list. Artists check in, they check in, you check them off, you tell them when they're going on. It's real simple. But the problem is with all the egos, a lot of these dudes feel like they don't need to show up on time for the check-in. And in my opinion, my professional opinion, if you don't show up for artist check-in, you ain't performing. But that's my professional opinion, not guest host of the show. So fucking the night's opening up, people are coming up. This one kid comes up to me, he's like, hey, I'm supposed to go up last. I got an hour. I'm like, buddy, you got 15 minutes. And he's like, no, 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 no. I'm supposed to have an hour. And I'm like, you don't have a fucking hour. You have 15 minutes. And then he's like, okay, well, can we turn the lights off for my set? I'm like, no, no, the fuck. So next thing you know, I got dudes showing up fucking 4 hours late for the artist check-in. I can't tell them to go fuck off because I don't have the venue's security backing me. I don't have this company's like assistance backing me. I don't have anything. I'm just a guy with the paper, you know? And like, I wanted to perform the night too. That's why I agreed to do this. So fucking this kid keeps coming up to me asking me these dumbass questions like, can I put a table up for my merch? Can I fucking pull out my smoke machine? Like, no, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then he's coming up, he's like, if you kick this artist off stage right now, I'll get 30 minutes. I'm like, dude, you are stressing me the fuck out. He would not leave me the fuck alone. I performed my set, and then I fucking went up there mid set for a different person, ripped my microphone jack out, and I fucking walked out of the fucking building. And then I got a text the next day that was like, hey, dude, how'd it go? I'm hearing that like somebody didn't get to perform. I'm like, nah, everybody got to perform. I don't know what you're talking about. And then I was like, also, like, am I getting paid? He's like, yeah, I'll pay you when I get paid. I never got paid, and he blocked me. And then when he started seeing me pop off and like do more stuff and gain more traction, he tried to follow me back and like start commenting like flame emojis and gassing me up and shit. Fuck all that, bro. But yeah, I basically let the venue burn the fuck down for the night and I just fucking left, dude. So that's probably the craziest thing that's happened.
How would you define what success would look like for you?
Success for me, to be able to at least go part-time from my real big boy job. If I could drop down to a part-time gig and pay my bills and provide for my family with a lot of creative money, I think that would feel like I succeeded. Even if I'm not 100% getting paid from creativity, if I was able to 50% that split and get paid for doing what I love as well as working a little bit, then I think I would feel like I succeeded in my creative world.
What are some goals or some affirmations that you want to put out there for things that you want to accomplish for the upcoming year, creatively and personally?
For next year, I want the YouTube channel to hit 1,000 subscribers. We are at 90 right now, which is kind of whack. I want all my projects to be mixed and mastered professionally, something I've never done up to this point. I want the brand, the merch, to really gain some kind of fan base. I want more tattoos and a motorcycle. So we'll see if that happens, but it'd be cool. Other than that, I'm not wishing for much. Final mentions. 2024 has been really awesome. I got to really buckle down and figure out Infamous Media. Next year, I think I have like 5 or 6 brand names that I want to purchase the legal copyrights of. So that's a big plan for 2025. I want to get a lot of copyrights taken care of, a lot of trademarks taken care of. I want to take my branding to a whole new level in 2025. But in 2024, I got to formulate Infamous Media. I got Jalen, the coolest other half of this brand. And then my music, I've got it all locked in. I got to figure out a big financial half of the creative world this year. So I'm hoping 2025 I can take that and maximize it to the fullest. So be on the lookout for season 2 of Infamous Media in 2025. And yeah, that's all, buddy. See ya.